Hello there, and welcome to You Don't Know Her, the mindset podcast all about creating the best life for yourself, one by design, not by default. And today we're absolutely delighted to be joined by the tremendously funny, gifted Lee McShane again. How are you doing, Lee?
How are you doing?
Good, yeah, good. Good to see you as always. Today we decided to have another chat about. I think in the past we spoke a lot about kind of your comedy influences and obviously your filmmaking as well and everything around that. But I think at the moment, from since I last spoke to you, you've been trying to probably lean more into comedy than anything. I wanted to kind of pick your brains today on some influences and well, specifically, we were talking about kind of some of the new up and coming comedians that can provide a lot of inspiration. I know James Acaster is quite big at the scene at the moment, but a big one for me and I believe for you as well is Daniel Sloss, isn't he? Is there any sort of thing you can share about him and kind of what you've seen of him?
I remember first hearing about him in 2015.
Already.
I can't remember, I think he was doing a show at the stand. Didn't get to see it, but
Hmm.
a big thing I remember watching of Daniel is, have you seen on Comedy Central where it's like a rap battle sort of thing where it's jokes back and forth about the other person, like a roast battle?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's it. I remember him going up and just like winning because he was
Hmm.
absolutely brutal. But he
Yeah.
wasn't brutal as in he's insulting them to the point where you think, oh my God, this is bad.
Hmm.
He's doing it in a joking manner where even the person who he's roasting can't
Hmm.
stop laughing at the joke. He's brutal, but he's funny about it. Like he's not the kind who will say dark humor to offend. He's
Yeah.
the kind to say dark humor and know it's going to get a laugh, not just
Yeah.
a shock reaction.
Yeah, it's so funny stuff like that. I do like the roast battles. I think one of my favorite ones was Phil Wang's been on there, and he was yeah. Have you seen that one?
I have seen that one. Oh, what
I,
was this?
I
It
can't
was
remember
him with
much
Ed.
about.
Ed, what's his? I forget his
It's
last
not Ed
name.
Gamble, is it? Ed
Ed
Gamble.
Gamble. That's it.
But yeah.
Just the thing that stands out with that one is your girlfriend's so much of a dog. I wanted to eat her.
He's so funny, Phil Wang. I've just watched his. I saw him live. He was up here in the northeastern Yarm and doing a set, which was to cover for probably a lesser known comedian. Troy Hawk was supposed to be headlining it, but Phil Wang's kind of was took over, and he was so funny, and it made me kind of like watch more and more of his stuff. So I watched his Philly Wang Wang tour that's on Netflix, and some of the stuff on there is incredible. But yeah, he does lead into the kind of that British stereo. It was filmed in 2021, this thing, and he said, and he starts it off by going, well, quite early on, he goes, just so everyone knows, I'm, British Chinese, and I've just been over in China in January 2020. Actually, wasn't me.
That's a good one. I don't think I've seen that tour. Don't I've seen that
Yes.
special yet.
No, it's. I've not seen the other one. He's got another one called Wang in there, baby. I saw that poster, but I'm not. I just love the titles. The titles have both just gripped me from the get-go. But yeah, Phil Wang is funny. Phil Wang's very much worth your time, and Daniel
Oh
Sloss
yeah.
as well, and things like that. And I just wanted to pick up on not specifically the rap battle, but the part you mentioned about kind of criticizing or kind of digging at someone, but doing it in a funny way that gets them on side. Have you ever seen the video between Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart where they're doing impressions of each other?
I don't think I've seen that.
You've not
No.
seen that? I'll link that in the description box below because it's so funny that they both do such an amazing impression of each other because they've collaborated a couple of times now, I think.
Oh, they have. The
Yeah.
loads. Yeah.
Yeah. So they know each other so well. And then Kevin Hart, I think. I mean, they're both amazing, but Kevin Hart's obviously that's character acting and kind of like him putting himself in different scenarios. I think it's what's built his career. So he like just gets into the Dwayne Johnson thing so well. But Dwayne's really good doing it back to him as well. But for example, Kevin Hart goes things like uh he goes the beauty of it's a thing. It's a thing. He's doing stuff like that, and he just like it's so Dwayne Johnson. It's so like on point to everything he says. And then and then he goes like, the thing is, if you've got to wait, you've got to pick it up. 9 times out of 10, you can't. He like does all this sort of stuff, and it's like everything's related back to that. And it's like, as I'm watching it, Dwayne Johnson's laughing because he sees himself in it like so much. He just goes, "Yeah, you know what? He's nailed me there. Like that is absolutely what happened." So, is there any more examples of that where you've seen impressionists or maybe other character acting where you thought that's incredible and that's kind of inspired you as well?
I will say I was watching a film a few years ago. It was where Jim Carrey is
Hmm.
playing Andy's as Andy Kaufman,
Yeah, yeah, Man on the Moon.
in the fact that he just got so into character. He did, even when they recreated the Jerry Lawler incident, they
Mm,
created it almost identically. Like,
mm,
I remember watching a YouTube video where they put the actual instance and the bit from the film side
mm.
by side.
Yeah,
In it was must have been that rehearsed because it was literally no difference between us.
no,
I definitely think that though Jim Carrey in itself is a fantastic character actor
yeah, yeah,
because he'll just get into any character.
yeah,
Like he can literally get into anything.
yeah,
In watching Man on the Moon, that was literally just like you don't think it's Jim Carrey. You get so lost, you actually
yeah.
think you're watching Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, yeah, and then he plays the character that Andy Kaufman created, I think, or allegedly created. Was it Tony Hinchcliffe or something like that? I can't remember. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, I
And
think
that
so. Yeah,
and that I think like people, he just like the real Andy Kaufman would stay in character. I think as the other guy so much that people like he'd come on set as this guy, and everyone knows like it's Taxi, wasn't it? I think that was the TV show.
yes, it
Yeah.
was.
So he'd come on the set in Taxi, and all they want him to do is just get into character and be himself, and they can film. But he's coming as this other character, and he's like throwing things around, and yeah, and Jim Carrey, I think I've said before that I think that's the best performance by anyone in any film ever, which is a big claim. But I think his own family, Andy Kaufman's family, thought that Jim Carrey was Andy Kaufman, like in terms of his mannerisms and everything offset, like when the cameras aren't rolling, he's still in
Yeah,
character, he's still Andy Kaufman. So and I think it took him about 2 years or something in that to stay in that character, something
wow.
like that. And yeah, it was certainly a long time. And I know even Jimmy Fallon said he came on set, and I think it was Jimmy Fallon came on set and spoke to Jim Carrey, and he's like, "Hi, you all right, Jim?" And he just turns around like and he's like doesn't respond to Jim. They said to him, "Oh, so you do have to call him Andy, like call him Andy whilst you're talking to him and things like that." And it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
That's the thing about method acting, though, is it's that intense that literally you do anything.
Yeah.
Like I would say I've tried it, but it's sort of getting character maybe half hour before,
Mm.
not like turn it off.
Yeah.
But I hear people say, "Oh, this character was so hard to find. I knew if I turned it off, I'd never be able to switch it back on." So
Mm.
it was on all the time, and it's like method acting. It's good because you can get a good role out of it, but at the same time, it is a thing of is it a bit too much? Like it can get good performances, like Daniel Day-Lewis, a
Mm.
known method actor,
Mm.
managed to get amazing performances. But when he was doing my left foot,
Mm.
um, having the like be in the wheelchair, having them call cut, and I'm stay in the wheelchair, having people to feed him,
Mm.
acting like he was still that character all the time. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that even like his family were like, we can't cope with this. We
Mm.
want this film to be done as fast as we can, so we can have Daniel back because we don't like him how he is.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
remember, oh, I can't remember what film it was, but there was this actor. He was like, "Oh, my character's meant to be tired, sleep deprived." He went on set, hadn't slept in 3 days.
Mm.
And they noticed how tired he was. And I think it was Laurence Olivier walked up to him and says, "Why do you look so bad?" He was like, "Oh, my character's going to be tired. He hasn't slept for 3 days. So I
Mm.
haven't slept for 3 days." And Laurence
Yeah.
Olivier just says, "Why don't you try acting it?"
Yeah. Yeah, that's what your job title is, actor,
Yeah.
isn't it? You can pretend to, but I do think there's a lot to that as well. I mean, there's so many examples I think a lot of the best actors in the world are the ones with good range, the ones that listen and kind of understand and want to get in the head of someone else. They don't necessarily have to pretend. And I think certain people, certain actors that kind of encapsulate that would probably be like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think I've spoke about him before and his performance in. Have you ever seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape? I think that was his first breakthrough
I
role.
have. I really like that film.
Yeah, and you know how different he is. You know how obviously he's playing a disabled character, isn't he? And I don't know if you know, but when he went to the awards event, everyone was so stunned that he was actually stood upright walking. He was,
Oh,
just walking
wow.
to his chair. Everyone was expecting it to be a disabled actor, because of how accurate his portrayal was. And And yeah, and another one I really like is Michael C. Hall from Dexter as well. He said, the lead character of Dexter, he said that he said he feels really bad, but he did stalk people before Dexter came out. Like he would choose someone and he'd do what Dexter does and he'd kind of stay at a distance away from them to look at them. And then he said he got all the way to the point where he was outside this woman's house as she's like opening the front door and she's gone into her house and he said he could have followed her and if he wanted to, but he said, right, that's it. Like I'm not gonna
Never know.
to wait. But
That's
yeah,
that's
yeah,
extreme.
yeah. But it's again, it's getting in that role and it just shows you what's possible because I bet if someone told him before Dexter was a thing, maybe when he's doing 6 feet under or something, and said, "Oh, you're going to do this role in a few months' time, and you're going to be kind of, just about to follow a woman into a house from the supermarket in real life." He's probably thinking, "What the hell are you talking about?" But it's when you have that brain change yourself to go, "Oh, well, let's see, like let's see what's possible." Like, yeah, that's the difference, isn't it?
I have heard stories about that of actors sort of getting lost in the role and forgetting who they are. I'm bad with names. I will say that a name will come in my head. I know who I mean, but then as soon as I try to talk about it, the name goes.
Yeah.
But an actor was playing a cop in an American film,
Mm.
and he got that into the role. He saw a crime happening,
Mm.
chased after the guy, acted like thought he had a radio, realized he's just running,
Yeah.
and then he got the guy to the ground as you're under arrest and realized I can't actually do this.
Yeah.
Had to ask someone, can you call 911 and just sit there?
Yeah.
There's
Citizen's
been
arrest.
I remember an actor portraying like he was meant to be a wine taster, but he
Mm.
knew nothing about wine.
Yeah.
Got so into the character. The
Mm.
film finished, and a week later he went to a pub
Mm.
and he didn't realize as he was looking at the bottles of wine, it triggered him back in the character
Mm.
until he started talking about wine and he
Mm.
realized, what am I doing? He went outside of the pub and had to take a few breaths, be like, I'm out of this. This is
Mm.
finished. I don't need this character in my life anymore.
Yeah, yeah, just yeah. Well, that's the diff. Like another good example of that is Austin Butler, the guy who played Elvis in the new Elvis
Yeah.
film. He stayed in character as Elvis for his interviews, even after the film had come out. I think because he was trying to get out of it. Like he was, so there in interviews and talking like this, or whatever it is. He's doing a better job than I've just done there. But that's like, and yeah, it's just absolutely crazy that like, yeah, they'll probably do, like you say like the actors they want to get out of that role, don't they? They want to go back to the normal life, and I'm sure the friends and family want that as well, get their old friends back. But it does when you've done that for so long and that's been your life for that long. There's a bit of a kind of period of kind of normalizing yourself again, getting back to your old self, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It just makes us think like if other characters try to do that, how far would they have went? Would Anthony Perkins have ended up murdering someone in the shower if he got
Mm,
him really into character?
yeah,
But
yeah.
luckily, I don't think well, method acting was around then. But I think for that role, he did such a good job that I think he sort of got typecast as that sort of serial killer, creepy role. That's why he sort of returned a few times for the sequels.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of actors have done it where they've leaned into one specific thing. I know obviously a big example is probably someone who I think is an amazing actor with an amazing range is Daniel Radcliffe. Obviously Harry Potter. And he found it difficult because he was Harry Potter from, the age of 10 or 11 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
He found it very difficult to kind of break that mold, I think. And he gets referenced when he's on Ricky Gervais's show, Extras, when Daniel Radcliffe is playing himself and he has to basically play another kind of version of Harry Potter basically again, but like on this thing. And then he's wearing the glasses and stuff like this, and he's sat down and he's like it shows you in the show. He's just completely different. He's like this how he's probably 16 or something. Like he looks very young. But the whole thing of the show is he's just completely different to the Harry Potter you'd see. He's super sexual. He's like hitting on everyone. And he's got this at one point, he sat talking to Rick Gervais's character, Andy, and he's going, "What's the situation with your friend Maggie then?" And he's like trying to chat up, like trying to get stuck into his friend Maggie, and she goes, "Oh well, like saying what he goes," and he goes, because I've got this, and he's like brings out this already unraveled like condom, and he's like
oh
doing
wow.
that, and but it's like loads of stuff like that, like and him going. he goes, oh, I just hope it's big enough, and like flicks it over his head, and it lands on like James. It's like someone like Dame Judy. No, it's like Helen Mirren. Or, like it's someone famous. I forgot who it was, but it lands on someone's head, and he's like, "Oh, can I have that back, please?" It was like all that sort of thing. And but then like yeah, someone I think it's Warwick Davis gets into a fight with him by the end of the episode, and he's like, "You specky git," and then he's like takes his glasses off and goes, "These aren't real glasses, you know." Like, and then, like you know, it's like you're a specky git. But it just shows you that like everyone, I've heard people say to me before, Daniel Radcliffe's so wooden. Daniel Radcliffe isn't a good actor. Daniel Radcliffe's a one-trick pony. But then if you've ever seen him in a show or a film like Horns, I think it was, where he's playing an American character, and if you've seen him on the Jimmy Fallon show where he's doing this rap, and Graham Norton, he's done this
I
rap as
I
well,
did see that, yeah.
it shows that he's actually like, yeah, unsurprisingly to me, he's a very, very talented actor. He's obviously got a lot of like skills to his personality, hasn't he? So
I
yeah,
mean, Daniel Radcliffe, he did try to, as he was getting older, he did try to sort of shed that childlike sort of typecast he's been given by doing Equus
mm,
on the West End and Broadway.
mm,
And I think that a lot of people were like shocked that he was doing it, but it's like, this player's been around for a while. He's not the first person to do this, but
yeah,
it's shocking because it's Daniel Radcliffe, it's
yeah,
Harry
yeah,
Potter.
yeah,
But even like when the Harry Potter films were ending, I remember seeing articles saying, "Oh, that's it, Radcliffe's finished."
mm,
And when The Woman in Black came out, they
mm,
go, "Oh, it's not going to be good. It's going to be bad." But he was actually, I enjoyed Woman in Black.
mm,
I enjoyed Horns because I'd read the book previously.
mm.
In the character, he did so well, and he has just went on to prove people wrong that look, I can do these other characters because I am actually an actor.
Yeah, yeah. I completely agree. I think it, like you said, it's shocking because of who it is. It's shocking because it's Daniel Radcliffe. It's people put so much value on things because of a name, you know, not because of kind of what they see. I mean, for a big example, that girl there, Billie Eilish, she was in Middlesbrough.
Oh,
She was in
I did
Middlesbrough.
recognize her to be fair.
Oh no, fair enough. But yeah, she was in Middlesbrough doing a show with BBC Big Weekend in 2019 when she was 17. And she'd already had Bad Guy out at that point, which is like, yeah, a massively, it's got over 1 billion streams. I think over 2 billion now. It's massively popular. And she did the song live. Anyway, she's got this like middle slot. She got like 4 p.m. slot. She wasn't like one of the, you know, headline acts. And it was still very popular and people were absolutely like, you know, really wild to see and stuff. But because a lot of people, she was just kind of onto the scene now. That event was, I think it was £22 for the entire day for like everything for like her, Miley Cyrus, you know, Stormzy, Lewis Capaldi, the
22
1975.
pounds for the day for them.
All that, yeah,
That's
yeah, because
that's
it's
really good.
I know it's because it's subsidized and funded through the BBC. It's the BBC's like
Oh,
taxpayer,
okay.
so it's like that's why it's so cheap, and they want to do something to kind of give back to an area, and they chose Middlesbrough this year. Anyway, so she was on, and I know that someone I was with that I went to go and see someone else at one point, so I kind of caught up with them later, and Lewis Capaldi and Billie Eilish clashed. They were on at the same time. So I said, yeah, they're on two different stages at the same time. So I said to my friend, I said, "Oh, who did you go and see, Lewis Capaldi or Billie Eilish?" And she said, "Neither of them." And I said, "What?" And she went, "Yeah, we were just at the bar and then like went on the Ferris wheel and that." And I was thinking, like, you know, you've got Billie Eilish and Lewis Capaldi, you know, within, you know, a 5 minute walk of each other, and you know,
That's a missed opportunity.
whereas nowadays, Billie Eilish is charging hundreds of pounds for her show, you know, for just to see her. I think I saw tickets for like 400, 500 quid for to go and see her in Wembley or something like that. And people are more than happy to pay that now because it's been, you know, it's been another 5 years since then. So it's like she's a lot further on in her journey and people are valuing her a lot higher. Even though I think she was as good then as she is now, there's not really a lot of difference. It's just how people perceive
Yeah,
it.
it's weird how fast like something like that can happen. Because I remember speaking to Lola the
Mm,
other day where she showed us a video when she was at a Sabrina Carpenter concert
mm,
in 2017. And
mm.
obviously in 2017, Sabrina Carpenter
Yeah.
was known,
Yeah, but
but
nowhere
she
near.
wasn't as known as she is now.
Yeah, yeah.
In She sat a bit back because the
Mm,
video was distance to the stage. And
mm.
it was like, what I think she said it was like £25 for those tickets.
Yeah.
But if you look at Sabrina Carpenter's tour now, the same distance would be like £400 for that ticket.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
like if you're
wild, isn't it?
lucky to see an artist early on like that, I
Yeah,
think it's amazing to say I saw them before they blew up.
yeah.
Like that's an amazing story to have.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful to see, and that's why I like to support like smaller, like not just music, but kind of actors as well, and kind of local shows and things like that. But I'm just conscious of time, Lee, that we're already there. It's the end of
Oh
it's,
no,
the- it's the end of today's, but I do always appreciate having you on, and we'll definitely have you back on and chat further things. But yeah, for the time being, if people want to find a bit more out about you, see you, where's the best place you can point them towards?
you can find me on Instagram at the_Lee_McShane, or you can find me on TikTok on Unruly or on Lee McShane Comedy.
Spot on. Perfect. Brilliant. As always, I'll link that in the description box below. But yeah, thank you very much, Lee, and catch up next time.
See you later.
Cheers. Bye.